Hey everybody, what is going on? It is Crypto Bobby. Hope you are having a good Halloween if you are in the US or if you're anywhere that celebrates Halloween. And if you're not and don't give a crap about that, also happy all-time high day for the 80 bajillionth day in the row for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is broken $6,400, about $10 below right now, but Bitcoin has had a hell of a run today. Been really, really awesome to watch. So welcome to Crypto Happy Hour tonight on October 31st. If you're watching this live, if you're watching a recording, appreciate you joining thereafter as well. Hope you guys are having a good one. And for Crypto Happy Hour tonight for Halloween, I made myself a little bit or a lot of bit of an old-fashioned. So looking forward to hanging out with you guys this evening, talking about Bitcoin, talking about your questions, talking about the X2X Fork, really anything you guys want to dive into tonight. So excited to get things kicked off here and taking your questions there as well. Just making sure everything is set up on my phone, just to make sure that we got all of sound. It looks like sound and video and everything is good and we're rolling. So again, thank you guys for taking the time here and threw in as usual with the Crypto Live Happy Hour. If you have questions, I definitely try to answer as many as I humanly possibly can. But if you really, really want something answered, throw it in the super chat. I know there's the typical GIF I have in there that pops up when the super chat happens. For Halloween, I put in a couple extras for more money in the super chat. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of variety on that today with those GIFs, and we'll go on it. And as we kick off here too, guys, I know a lot of you guys are kicking up kicking up some questions, and I see one thing about Gollum GNT there being the new Palm Beach coin, so we'll pop into that. But if you guys would love to hear where you guys are watching in from tonight, and if you are, somebody gave me crap today because I drink alcohol during the show. So if you're drinking water, if you're drinking apple juice, if you're drinking coffee, I don't care. Would love to know where you're dialing in from or where you're watching from, what you're drinking. And again, it doesn't have to be alcohol. I just kind of, it's 9 p.m. and I'm having a good night, so it's Halloween. Why the hell not, right? And so, two things we can pop into. Yeah, NYC, that was crazy. I actually wasn't in New York City today. I was in Manhattan yesterday, but nowhere near there. But yeah, that's pretty crazy stuff. So if you're in New York or around like I am, pretty crazy bad stuff there. But going into some of these questions. So a couple of different people have said my alts are bleeding, which yes, they have been, and we'll touch on that for sure. And then somebody else mentioned the Palm Beach report, and I've seen that getting pumped all over the place, the Palm Beach report. I actually looked at that because a couple different YouTubers have been pumping the Palm Beach report and dropping some referral links to the Palm Beach report as well. That looked like it was a couple $1,000s, and no thank you. I'm not going to spend a couple $1,000s on a report, but it sounds like Gollum GNT is was the coin that was recently mentioned. And I've heard a lot of people say some good things about the Palm Beach report. I've also heard a lot of people, some of the crypto OGs talking about San Diego, what's up, NYC, South Carolina, Kombucha, however the hell you want to pronounce it, which is pretty good stuff. Honolulu Airport, nice, man. I wish I was in Hawaii. Montana, nice. Maine, Cali, South Carolina. Damn, Mongolia, what's up, my man? That is a long way off. So welcome from Mongolia. San Francisco, what is up? And going into it, so I've heard some varying things, quite frankly, about the Palm Beach report, and I think it's been pretty good on calling some coins, but some people have said it has pump and dump type tendencies in a lot of respects. So I would take everything there with a grain of salt. I mean, if you're paying a couple $1,000s, you're obviously pretty committed to it. But for me personally, I'm not going to drop. There's a lot of things I'd rather drop a couple $1,000s on than on report for cryptocurrency. So we'll have to hear there. If any of you guys are in that Palm Beach report, if you pay for that, would be interested in hearing your overall feedback on it. But yeah, it's pretty damn expensive. So I think they're also pumping a webinar now. So, or not pumping a webinar, but drawing a lot of registrations right now to a webinar where they're undoubtedly going to sell that report for a lot of money at the end of that webinar, because that's what webinars do. So we'll get into that. And we got people from all over the place, which is awesome, in Brooklyn drinking water. No love for ATL. What's going on, my man? Long Island, San Fran, Sydney, Australia. I've not been to Australia, but I'd like to go. South Africa, Ireland, Sacramento. Pretty awesome places all over the board. Me, I'm just in boring old Northeast. So getting into some of the questions there, and we could pop over right now on Coinigy, but and I talked about this a little bit in the previous video, and this is not something that Green Bastard is here. What's up, my man? My mouse is all of a sudden working real slow. But so on-chain FX is, I thought, a pretty interesting alternative to CoinMarketCap. It was something I talked about in one of the previous videos there, but I like how you could drop a couple of these how I can drop a couple different filters into place here. And Bitcoin has really been leading the way for the most part. Basically, nothing has been not many things have been able to keep pace of Bitcoin in the past. Let's see, from a volume perspective, not many things have been able to keep pace with Bitcoin in the last day. It's Bitcoin's been up 4.5%, close to 5% on over close to $2.5 billion worth of volume, and pretty damn close to its all-time high. So Bitcoin has been sucking money out of the altcoins for sure, which has been like some other people have been saying, altcoins have been bleeding out. And I've been saying it before, but I think in a lot of respects this might continue. A lot of this today was due to the futures news, or the news that there is going to be, I think CEM Group it was. I'm blanking on the name off the top of my head, but I believe it's CEM Group is opening up a futures product for Bitcoin, which could add quite a bit of liquidity and give an opportunity for really mainstream institutional investors to start making bets on Bitcoin, which people reacted to very positively from an investment perspective. You could see up 5% today. So looking forward to see how that continues to develop. Until the B2X Fork, I really don't. I mean, the price could certainly go down, but I'm still pretty positive and very, very heavily weighted in Bitcoin as opposed to even Ethereum or a lot of these other coins. So we'll have to see what ends up going on there. And taking a look at the chat here, trying to pop in as many questions as trying to pop in as many questions. Yeah, CME Group. Yep. I made a video about it today, but I forget things in like 4.5 seconds. So I haven't had any booze yet. This is like my second sip. So once the booze hits my system, I'll start remembering things, because it works like that. Yeah. So somebody mentioned the Electroneum blockchain is live. That was something I made a video the other day. Got all types of hell because I said that there were issues with Electroneum, and there are 300,000 pissed off Electroneum investors that were not happy when I said that. So I'm interested to see how Electroneum's ICO pans out, how they do once they hit the open market in their blockchain, because they got critiqued pretty hard from the Monero team. They got critiqued pretty hard from the Monero team, and I thought a lot of the criticism was valid. And yeah, people are coming after me on Twitter and YouTube and all that good stuff, but come at me, bro. What are you gonna do? But if you invest in that, good luck. I'm not, if you invest in that, good luck. I'm not any cryptocurrency. I'm not afraid to critique any cryptocurrency, quite frankly. If it's Bitconnect, if it's Electroneum, I'm not saying they're the same thing by any stretch, but whatever it is, if it's, people want to critique Bitcoin, if people want to critique Ethereum, I think every criticism that you have, that anybody wants to make, should be valid. You should listen to it. I mean, if it's something that's done in a thoughtful way. If you're just saying something's a shit coin or whatever, then that's not great. But valid critiques, I think, are always you should listen to, because it helps you to make better decisions in the long run. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with Electroneum. Who knows? Somebody mentioned when Bitconnect goes down, it will send shockwaves. You guys know me for the most part. I'm not a fan of Bitconnect. I rip on them all the time. They had a video from their conference in Thailand recently, and it was the funniest thing. I posted on Twitter. If you guys want to see it, go to my Twitter profile today. I'll go to my Twitter profile if you haven't seen it yet. But it's the most cringeworthy thing in the world. But I know a lot of people are saying like if Bitconnect goes down, it's going to bring the entire market with it. I really don't think it will, because I think there's I don't want to say there's a subset of people, but there is a subset of people who are like very much like, oh my God, I'm making a shit ton of money in Bitconnect. And then there's the rest of the market that's like, yo, this is clearly a Ponzi scheme, and there really isn't a business model behind that. Yeah, we're not going to invest in it. James, that shirt is ugly as hell. Rob, that shirt is ugly as hell. It was one of the ones in the dryer. What are you going to do? I appreciate the critique, though, James. So, yeah, that is what it is. But you really threw me for a loop with the shirt. As you guys know, I actually have a day job. I don't just sling Bitconnect loans for a living. So I actually do have a day job, and I was on WebEx one time with my boss, and I was wearing this shirt, and my boss was like, "What the hell are you wearing?" So James, you're not the only person that's ever said that to me. But it's comfortable, and it was like $10 from like H&M or somewhere like that. So looking for some questions here that I can pop into, and guys, I appreciate all the questions there as well. So some different people are talking about Vert being a great long-term hold. I don't know if Vert's had its day in the sun yet. I mean, obviously it's had a massive, massive pump. It's killed it pretty, as of late, out of nowhere really. It's gone up from. Vertcoin has gone up from being $1 to $5. I don't want to say it's done running, but if you were in there early, anytime you make 500% ROI, that's not a bad time to take profits. Could it continue to go up? Yeah. But have there been times where I could have taken 500% profit and then basically broken even because I was greedy? Yeah. So that's definitely something that you can do. Corey, I dumped my Manitha bag, so take a shot, my man. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm out. Somebody mentioned thoughts on Bloom. I talked to Jesse, the CEO. I do really like what they're doing. I have no idea when they're going to ICO. I think they're going to have a token sale at one point. When they do have a token sale, that'll be really interesting. I think they have a really experienced team and, quite frankly, a good group of guys that can make things happen. So I'm excited once Bloom goes through that token sale process. And I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that when that does go down for sure. Michael, Walton Coin thoughts. So Walton Coin has crushed it. A lot of you guys in the YouTube live community in the Crypto Bobby world here were talking to me about Litecoin when it was down, like literally, like let's say, I want to say early September. A lot of you guys in the comments were talking about Walton Coin when it was down in like the dollar range, and now it's up to $6-7. It's dropped off fairly substantially in the past couple of days. So it's taking a pretty good dive. I don't know if I'd buy into Walton Coin now personally. I think the time to buy was early September. So I think the time to buy for Walton Coin was quite frankly early September. Could it pick back up and could it get a little bit more momentum? Yeah, for sure. But I didn't have the that's the weirdest comment ever, Tommy. I'm a little scared, but I think you're kidding, so we can roll with that. But what is thoughts on Dogecoin? I don't even know how to pronounce it. I just saw that pop up today. Quite frankly, I have no clue about Dogecoin. So yeah, I can't really put too much emphasis into that as well. Somebody mentioned the Engine ICO stop trade ended a few minutes ago and is now trading at Ether Delta. Let's see if it's trading. I know it was on Ether Delta, but you couldn't actually. I don't think there were a lot of people. I've had Engine Coin in my wallet for a while actually, but let's see what's up. Engine. I quite frankly, with it not selling out, I wouldn't doubt if it's trading below ICO price. I don't remember off the top of my head what ICO price is either. Yeah. Woof. Hello. So I don't know what I don't remember what the actual ICO price is. It does not look like there's a lot of buyers though, which is not good. And there are a lot of sellers. So yeah, we'll have to see what ends up happening there. Not super great. I mean, overall, for the most part, the ICO market in general has been getting crushed. Like there are a lot of guys that have put basically their entire, have like a lot of YouTubers and all these guys that have like built their entire businesses and reputations around ICOs right now. And a lot of guys out there putting their entire businesses and reputations around ICOs. And ICOs have been ice cold in the past month or so. Really, for the most part, haven't been a great investment in the past month. Could that turn around? Yeah, for sure. But Engine Coin, I think, was unfortunately kind of bad. Yeah, Bryson, go for it, my man. Curse all you want, my dude. YouTube spam filters might catch it, but yeah, you can curse. We're around for it. But yeah, I think Engine Coin had unfortunate timing. There are a lot of ICOs that have really just gotten absolutely murdered in the past couple of weeks. Like AirSwap, which is a big ICO, is trading 50% below its ICO, or basically 50% of its ICO. It's getting murdered. I haven't done the full due diligence on Grid, but Grid was another consensus ICO that's not doing super hot since it's at the market. I have a lot of friends that were making 5-10x on every single ICO that they were participating in, made hundreds of thousands of dollars, quite frankly, in ICOs, and are now just done. They're like, I'm not going to participate in any more ICOs for the time being because the market's cooled. So I would be aware of, I would definitely be aware of that for the most part. So I think overall, unless you're very, very, very conservative and do a ton of due diligence, I would watch out for a lot of these ICOs. I'm not participating in a ton right now just because I don't see a big amount of return. Although that could switch, and when it does switch, when that eventually maybe does switch, that could be after the B2X fork when the alts spike, if and when the alts spike back up. So we'll have to see what ends up rolling with that. Somebody said waiting for Ripple to hit Coinbase. I don't see why Ripple. I don't know necessarily why Coinbase would hold Ripple. I don't know if that's one of the ones where I just don't know if that's one that would end up being on Ripple. So who knows? Or Ripple would end up being on Coinbase because Ripple is very centralized. So I don't know if I really necessarily see that. So somebody asked about B2X, what's really going to go down? Are we getting double? So let's pop over here. So if you guys aren't aware, there is going to be the SegWit 2X or the B2X fork, which is most likely going to make Casa say due diligence. Yeah, I can't lose. Like I said, I got a day job. I don't sling Bitconnect loans for a living, so I can't lose out on my my corporate speak. And I know some people have given me crap that you sound like a robot. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's because I literally do that shit for a living. So that's welcome to Crypto Bobby's world from 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. or whatever the hell it is, and outside of crypto happy hour times. But so B2X, the SegWit 2X fork, is occurring. I think it's in 2 weeks. Let's see. SegWit 2X countdown. So right now it's supposed to happen November 16th at 6:50 a.m. So what date will that be? That'll be a Thursday morning. So I will, if that does occur at 6:50 a.m. Eastern time, I will do a live stream at 6:50 a.m. Eastern time. I will not be drinking an old fashioned. I will be drinking a coffee. I will be having a Taylor ham and cheese and everything bagel, because that's what I do. And if you don't know what Taylor ham is, that's your fault. And that's something you should find out what the hell Taylor ham is. But Taylor ham and cheese on everything bagel and a big old coffee. And we'll talk about Segwit 2X. Hopefully that'll be in the morning, because that'd be pretty cool. 6:50. So wake your ass up at 6:50 in the morning. And we'll talk about that. But basically what is going down right now is, for the most part, if you hold Bitcoin, there is going to be a B2X fork that is going to incorporate Segwit, which is already incorporated within Bitcoin, and then it will double the block size further from Bitcoin Core right now. Really isn't a massive need for it. Really isn't a massive need for it in a lot of respects, I don't think, because of the availability of Bitcoin Cash. So if you want to, have double the block size or quadruple the block size, you can use Bitcoin Cash. There's already Segwit, so you can just use Bitcoin Core. So a lot of the people out there are not big fans of Segwit 2X. If you go on Twitter, there's no 2X freaking everywhere. Not a lot of people are a big fan of it, and people argue with me and they will say, this is an attack on Bitcoin, which in a lot of cases it is, but people argue with me and they will say, yeah, Travis, my man. People argue with me and say, this isn't free money. This isn't like, in a lot of cases, I am considering this a dividend for the most part. Like, yes, you can say it's something else, but if you have one Bitcoin, if you have one Bitcoin, you have $6,411 basically by GDAX standards. The Segwit 2X markets right now, they're futures markets, so it's trading on HitBTC. It's pretty damn small volume, and this is probably going to go down quite a bit. But as of right now, the futures markets are trading at over $1,000 for one B2X coin. So one B2X coin is trading at $1,100, meaning that when the fork happens, if you have one Bitcoin, you're going to get one B2X, and that would be worth, as of right now, this is a futures market again, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's realistic or that it's very accurate. And I would expect this price to go down, but even if it drops in half, you would get $1,100 right now. Maybe let's say it goes down to $500. You get a $500 dividend for holding one Bitcoin, or holding $6,400 worth of cryptocurrency. So to that point, it's something that somebody asked if Supo Man is Satoshi. Yes, I think he is. I think Supo Man is Satoshi. Oh shit. The Satoshi of Udemy. But basically, as this goes down, somebody asked who issues the dividend to Bitcoin holders. So it's not necessarily, the one thing is it is two separate, two separate cryptocurrencies. So you're gonna have a Bitcoin chain, and you're gonna have a B2X chain, like there is now a Bitcoin chain and a Bitcoin Cash chain, and there's separate miners where there's separate miners where miners mining Bitcoin, and there's separate miners mining Bitcoin Cash, and a lot of differences there. So with that being said, it's not necessarily a dividend in the sense where like you're literally just going to get $1,000 in your pocket. So it's different than that. There's going to be some effort there. You're going to have to have your crypto. You're going to have your Bitcoin in a place where you're actually going to be able to get. You're gonna have to get your basically Bitcoin in a place where you'll be able to access B2X. So you have to get it in a place that will support Bitcoin 2X or the Segwit 2X fork, and go from there. Otherwise, you won't get the quote unquote dividend or the free money. So you need to do some due diligence and understand what's going on there as well. So somebody said, bro, B2X is going to keep rising. I don't know if it is. I mean, if it is, great. If it doesn't, I just don't think there's a lot of support in the community for the most part. So we'll have to see what ends up going on. Taking a look at some of these questions here as well. Neo should be $500 by now. I mean, the one problem is, there's Neo is a good platform, but how much utility is really there so far? I think the whole China thing is really like took the wind out of Neo sales. Granted, it's done fairly well recently. What do we got here? It's holding at $28, but I think for the most part, the China BS took the wind out of Neo sales and really kind of pulled the excitement behind. There was a lot of excitement behind the Neo project, and people were really jacked up about it. And now they're not. So, or not now they're not. Not that they're not excited, but I think that it kind of reduced a lot of the excitement around it. James mentioned OMG, sell it. Yeah, I am. So quite frankly, I've been looking at OMG, and I still have a decent sized position in OMG, and I have been considering selling it. I think, in addition to a couple other cryptocurrencies, I've seen OMG kind of slowly slide down CoinMarketCap every day, and really not really show a ton of steam yet. So we'll have to see what ends up happening there. But I'm thinking, is China a country? You tell me, my man. I didn't major in geography. I'm underestimating the power of nationalism. How so? I'm honestly interested. Yeah, so that's one thing somebody just mentioned. Bitcoin skyrocketing at the CME news, which it already has. It's up 5% of the day. The altcoins have been bleeding out for the past couple of weeks for sure. The one thing that I'm looking at now, from the perspective of investment is at this point, I don't really know. I'm really confident in I'm really confident in a lot of Bitcoin's long-term potential. Even if Bitcoin sells off after the X2X Fork, I want to continue to invest and continue to build up my holdings in Bitcoin. So I don't necessarily know if I want to sell off my Bitcoin yet or sell off any of the Bitcoin. James, what are the odds of the Jets making the playoffs? 0.0. The Jets aren't making the playoffs. They're fucking trash. I hate my life. But going into that, I don't necessarily know if I want to sell off my Bitcoin. So what I'm thinking of doing is kind of holding my Bitcoin and then taking any fiat that I have and investing that fiat into altcoins, like literally the day of the X2X Fork or like the day before, because I feel like, who knows, maybe that's when they're at their lowest, maybe it's not, but that's what I want to get in prior to the X2X Fork on these altcoins, and then let that potentially rise up. So somebody mentioned, would it be stupid to buy altcoins right now? Might as well day before the fork, right? Yeah, that's kind of what I was going at. I don't necessarily. So I think maybe a lot of people might be doing it a day before the fork. Who knows? Who knows what might happen there? But I think that altcoins might still bleed down lower for a little bit because Bitcoin is going up, and it's not all new money from outside. It's also money from a lot, people taking profits in OMG and taking profits in Neo. And I did that. I took some profits in OMG like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I put it into Bitcoin. I took profits from Civic and put it into Bitcoin. So that's definitely what I kind of went through that process and how I did that. Somebody said what to invest in right now, Bitcoin or altcoins. I mean, it number one depends on the altcoins because I still think that Bitcoin has room to run prior to the X2X Fork, and I still do think we are going to, in the near future, at some point in time, see Bitcoin at $10,000, which would be fantastic. But as I'm looking at that, after the Segwit 2X fork, I do think you are going to see a sell-off in Bitcoin. I think the second this, if the Bitcoin Gold fork is any indication of what's going to happen with Segwit 2X, and the Bitcoin Gold fork was basically a total non-event, but if that is any indication of what is to happen with Bitcoin Segwit 2X fork, and how the market is going to react from Bitcoin's perspective and with the altcoins, that is going to be something where, you know, you're going to see potentially what happened with Bitcoin Gold is Bitcoin dropped immediately a few different, you know, probably 3 to 5%, like the second the snapshot happened, and then people sold. Bitcoin dropped because people were selling it and moving it directly into the altcoins. So that was something that was fairly interesting. Will these ASIC resistant coins be affected in this new altcoin winter? To be honest, I think the ASIC resistant coins it's a bunch of marketing fluff. There's a lot of coins out there that are now saying, oh, we're ASIC resistant, blah, 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 blah. There are many cryptocurrencies that have been ASIC resistant for a long time. So either people are just starting to realize that this is like something that exists and we're just silly previous, or we're just silly previously, but in my opinion, it's, for the most part, it's marketing fluff. If it's something that's mined by a GPU, then it's not that it's ASIC resistant, but yeah, I don't know. It's like there's the vast majority, or a good majority of cryptocurrencies are mined by GPUs right now. Granted, is it hard to get GPUs? Is it expensive to get GPUs? Yeah, it's not cheap, but I mean, the big thing that's mined by ASICs is Bitcoin. So when these new ICOs come out and they're like, oh, we're decentralized and we're ASIC resistant, blah, 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 like preaching to the choir, like this shit's been around for a freaking bajillion years, or like 5 or a year. I'm running out of old fashioned. This is not not a good thing. Yeah, Andy. ASIC resistant is something that was hyped a couple of years ago, and I do think that it happens. It happens to do with the algorithm that is actually used from a mining perspective, and how that goes. What is the algorithm that is leveraged for mining, and how how people go about that, but with that being said, I still think that for the most part it's not that big of a deal from an investment perspective. And I think there's a lot of newbies in the space that haven't been around cryptocurrency for a long time, and maybe they've been here for 2 or 3 months, and they see, not naming any names, but an ICO that just had a blockchain that went live tonight that talks about having an ICO where it's ASIC resistant, and you can mine on your CPU and GPU and blah 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 blah, and they think that that's gonna like outpace Bitcoin, and I don't necessarily think it is. So that's just me. So Thaddeus mentioned, what is the date of the fork? So the date of the fork is actually by it's not a bullet rye old fashioned. It's actually a high west rye old fashioned. I do love rye, so Stratford, you know me well, my man. But yeah, I do have bullet rye as well, and I'm running out of, that was like my last pour of the high west rye, which I actually like a little bit more than the bullet rye. But yeah, so somebody mentioned that when is the actual date of the fork? So the date of the fork is by the block number and not necessarily by the date. So that's what is really important, is the block number here. The date is an estimation based upon 10-minute blocks and 60 minutes in a day. So this might be adjusted as time goes on, as maybe one block gets mined in 9 minutes instead of 10 minutes, and one block gets mined in 11 minutes. But that's essentially how it's going to go, is that it's by block number. But if you want to see the countdown, click on this link, bookmark it, do whatever you want to do. So somebody mentioned, will that be the only broker future contracts will be available to trade on? I don't know if that's going to be the case. Let's see, CME. So we can pop over here to the press release, talked a little bit about it. Talked a little bit about it today, but they still have to go through all. The one important thing is pending all relevant regulatory review periods. If this gets denied, I would definitely expect Bitcoin to take a tumble if that does not pass the relevant regulatory review periods. So certainly something to keep in mind. If this does not pass relevant regulatory review periods, Bitcoin is going to go boom. And we'll see how that ends up rolling. So, but outside of that, I think this is really big news. CME Group is the largest futures, in a lot of cases, the largest futures derivatives marketplace, $43 billion enterprise value. So a big old company there. This is really going to be a big deal. And so I've gone to a couple different cryptocurrency meetups personally, and one recently last week I was in Manhattan. I was right in Times Square, and I went to a meetup. I went to a meetup in Manhattan. I was talking to a couple different people that are running VC firms and hedge funds in the crypto space. So much smarter than me. Literally I would say small scale institutional investors probably have $5, $10, $15, $20 million under, in their pockets that they're investing in. And they said one of the biggest, they were talking and we were having conversations around the institutional money that's potentially going to come into cryptocurrency and how that's going to end up panning out. So the big thing that they were talking about was the lack of controls or custodianship and insurance around the cryptocurrency. So having a futures exchange is really a big deal. If companies can trade for Bitcoin and trade Bitcoin futures without necessarily having to own Bitcoin in in a wallet somewhere or whatever it might be. And that's one thing that I think could really pump up the price of Bitcoin. I think of Bitcoin initially because Bitcoin's going to be the biggest market cap. And a lot of institutional investors, I don't think necessarily going to put money in, something that has a sub $10 billion market cap or a sub $5 billion market cap right away until they feel comfortable with how things work with Bitcoin. But this will be pretty fascinating to watch how big time Wall Street gets involved in this. And I know a lot of people are not fans of the traditional finance industry. I am not necessarily a massive fan of it. I'm kind of ambivalent in a lot of respects, but they have JP Morgan has come out and, Jamie Dimon rips Bitcoin all day long. But the one thing he said is pretty interesting. They move I think it was $7 trillion. They move $7 trillion a day or something freaking ridiculous. That's a big market for Bitcoin to take up. Somebody mentioned, where do I keep my altcoins? For the most part, I keep my altcoins in my Ledger Nano S. The vast majority of altcoins are ERC20 tokens. I would say the vast majority are ERC20 tokens. So when I'm looking at, altcoins there, I am able to put them in my Ledger because you can just send them to your Ethereum wallet. And when you send them to your ETH wallet on your Ledger Nano S, they're stored on, and you can access them with my Ether wallet. So that's where I store the majority of my altcoins. So I have Civic, OMG, basically any recent ICO. The only thing is you kind of can't do that are like Neo, some of the other cryptocurrencies there as well. Somebody mentioned, is your entire portfolio positive or negative ever since you started in crypto? If you were to audit USD right now, definitely very positive, very, very positive, significantly up. I'm going to have to pay taxes this year. IRS, if you're watching, I will pay my taxes. Please don't come after me. But yeah, it's definitely up. Somebody said I look like David Beckham. I wish my wife thought that. No, I'm kidding. But no, I definitely am. I'm too fat and average and white for that. Somebody said, what's your day job? I work in software sales. So work at a big Fortune 500 company that actually has a blockchain product that they sell. I don't actually sell it. I don't know if I'd want to sell it, but yeah, my company is getting into. So, dude. So, company's actually getting into blockchain, which is pretty interesting, kind of cool. But yeah, we'll end up seeing how it rolls. Somebody said, "Do you pay taxes before cashing?" Yeah, David Beckham, fuck out of here. Yes, I am definitely not David Beckham. So, dudes. Do you pay taxes before cashing out? No. So I know taxes aren't the favorite thing for a lot of people to talk about, but I'm going to use Bitcoin.tax, and I'm going to use Bitcoin.tax, and then I'm going to I'm going to provide basically all my trades to my accountant and say, hey, man, figure this shit out and file it with the IRS and make sure I'm paying the taxes I'm supposed to pay. So that's what I'm going to do. It's just going to be at the end of the year is when I'm going to pay taxes. So, I mean, if you guys really want, and this is not an affiliate link, I think they have one, but Bitcoin.tax, they have a free version. I think you can do 100 transactions, and then after that you have to pay, I want to say, like $20 for the entire year, and then it integrates with a lot of different things. So it integrates like TurboTax. It's actually pretty cool. And it's good. I've liked it. To be honest, I have no idea who creates this, so it could literally just be the IRS, like getting information about me. But it's good for, number one, gains and also losses. Like if you lose money trading crypto, that's a loss, and that should be a tax deduction. So if it's good for a closing report, profit loss, capital gains, income, all that stuff. So I really like it. And then I haven't even checked this, but there's a tax professional that had Bitcoin experience as well. I've had the same accountant for a number of years, so I'm just going to use my guy. But I'm from New York, New Jersey, wherever, and I got a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who has a CPA. So I'm going to end up using that. But I would give Bitcoin.tax if you made a bunch of money. Quite frankly, if we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars in profit. I'm not an accountant, but I wouldn't. You can bet your ass there's a lot of people that made a ton of money in crypto this year, and the IRS is not aware of that, and they know, and they're going to be keenly aware of the amount of people that have made money on cryptocurrency in the past year or so. So you're damn right that I'm paying my taxes, but you do what you want to do. So. Somebody mentioned let's see. I made a ton of money. Good for you, my man. Good for you. Yeah, my company will have its own Dogecoin. They are marketing that substantially. It's going to be called Doge V2, or actually it's going to be called Doge Cash. Somebody's asking if the FBI will hunt you down with your Bitcoin on a hardware wallet. I'm not the FBI, but you're dropping that in a public chat room right now. Shit if I know, man. I really don't know. But you guys, this is all up to you, my man. And I am not your accountant. I am not a legal professional. I am not giving tax advice. And I am one fat old-fashioned deep, and I'm about to run downstairs for a second and get a little bit more bullet rye and toss it in that glass, because one old-fashioned is not enough, even if somebody in the YouTube comments tells me I shouldn't be drinking because it's not appropriate or it's not fun. And I would say, I'm here for fun. I'm not here for your entertainment. I am here for your entertainment. But outside of that, outside of the taxes, because taxes is not a fun issue, and again, I'm not an accountant. But if you guys have questions on... I feel sorry for you Americans. If you guys have questions on specific cryptocurrency, I'm happy to hop into those. Why don't you guys do this? I'm going to go run downstairs. I'm going to get more Give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna go get my bottle of booze and put more ice in my glass, and then ask some questions. As soon as I get to those, I will hop in here and answer them. And I'm back and I'm alive. Grab enough for everyone. Don't be that guy. So, as I'm winded, somebody asked if I had bullet rye before. I do have bullet rye. It's almost empty. Apparently, I've done some damage on this before. So you can't say out of all the things that I don't know how to drink, but we'll end up seeing what's going on. One bourbon, one scotch, one beer. Yeah, whenever I drink alone, I prefer to drink by myself, or prefer to drink by myself as well as with 400 people on YouTube Live. So that's kind of what I prefer to do, apparently. If you want to make the Alec Baldwin GIF out of this, we can do that. Or GIF. I also have, since it's Halloween, I went out and bought a bunch of Halloween candy for the little kids in the neighborhood that run around. I had like 7 trick-or-treaters come here, but I froze a bunch of Milky Ways and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, so I'm just eating the shit out of those right now. It's bad news. So Miles mentioned, getting back into some good real questions there. Miles mentioned Bitcoin versus Ethereum. Is the flipping going to go down in the next 1 to 2 years? Will it ever happen? I don't know if it is ever going to happen, quite frankly. It'll be interesting to see exactly how this ends up panning out, but Bitcoin and Ethereum have very different use cases in a lot of respects. Bitcoin is now, I think, being positioned by a lot of people as a store of value, as the digital gold kind of has been before, but is now reestablished as that, whereas Ethereum is this platform for computation and decentralized applications and ICOs and all that good stuff. So that'll be interesting to see how it ends up panning out. I think they are both a really good component of a portfolio in the future, but I don't know if Ethereum is ever going to necessarily maybe it could eclipse. It's definitely possible, but we'll end up seeing how it goes. Milky Ways and whiskey. Apparently, this shit's really fucking frozen. I shouldn't chew and eat a frozen Milky Way on a YouTube Live either. That's while I'm chewing through this brick of a Milky Way. It's bad. I'm a terrible YouTube Live host for eating a Milky Way on YouTube, but I was hungry, so we'll see what ends up happening with that. Yeah, somebody mentioned Bitcoin just won't stop rising. And I mean, the CEM news or CME news is definitely big time stuff. As is the B2X fork. It'll end up happening. Glenn, he wouldn't be as cool as I am either, so we'll have to see what happens. Tumbleweed, good to see you, my man. Hope you're enjoying that new castle. Jerkin, you're the worst, dude. Literally the worst. Meanest person on the planet. I'm a PC guy. Canadian whiskey, now it's Bullet Rye, so it's nothing crazy. You mentioned Exodus thoughts. Like Exodus, the wallet, I don't use Exodus. I think I actually have it downloaded, but I don't use it. So, yeah, I'm not a... I made a video today on the exact... So this question has happened like 400 times, and I feel the personal obligation to respond to it every single time, or to say it once in a crypto live when there's 400 people here. Somebody said, "What are your thoughts on Bitconnect or the other lending sites?" Absolute newbie here, and it seems skeptical with the amount of return. There is not a product in the market, really, realistically, that should be able to promise 1% return on investment day over day. It's just not realistic. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. So, I mean, you can make money on it, and the thing is too, like, you know what? If you want to put your money in, a lending program, if you want to put your money with a Bitcoin lending bot, and you make money on it, you know what? Good for you. Honestly, good for you. But there's gonna be one point in time where the music is gonna stop. And something's going to happen, and they're going to run out of referrals, and they're going to run out of money, or something bad's going to happen, and your money's going to go away. And you were getting greedy, and you put $10,000 in, and you were making 40% month over month, so you just put more money in, and then you had $100,000 in, and one day that $100,000 is just going to go, and I think that's gonna happen, honestly. But the thing is, if it happens, it might take a year or 2 years or 3 years. So people are just looking at this and saying, "Hey, shit! If I can make 40% a month, I'm gonna do it." So, I'm gonna do it. And if I lose my money in 6 months or in a year, then whatever. I would just look out. I would just look out for a lot of these. There are a lot of dudes on YouTube that are like driving around in their like bullshit cars and like pretending like they're awesome. And I'm not gonna lie, I have nice cars, but I also have a day job, and like, I wasn't living in a trailer park, and I wasn't like living in my mom's basement before this. So yeah, I don't have the need to pump Bitconnect because I actually have I have a salary and I have all that other good stuff. But if you want to, invest in that stuff, you could probably make a lot of money in Bitconnect in the time being. But at some point, somewhere, shit's gonna blow up, or in some of these other cryptocurrencies. So you just need to be aware of that, and you also need to be aware that the people that are telling you to buy this stuff, and the people that are showing their cars and all this crap and talking about how awesome life is, that they don't care about you. They don't care about when they refer you. All they care about is getting your money in their bank account. That's all they care about, and that's all they give a shit about. So yeah, that's my thoughts. And somebody asked about thoughts about USI tech. That's the same shit. It's the same thing. BMW guy, is that douchey? I think that's douchey. But yeah, I like my BMW. I mean, a lot of these things will fail, but they might take time. So I think it's hysterical that people are saying that, just all these YouTubers that are coming out, and I see it all over the place, that are like, oh, because Bitcoin goes up, that means your trading bot is making money. It literally doesn't mean it's making money. It doesn't. Nobody cares, nobody cares about you, but nobody cares about your money but yourself. So just take everything with a grain of salt. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Take what somebody else says with a grain of salt. But anytime there's, I'll put out a honestly, I'll put out a referral link for Coinbase, or I'll put out a referral link for Amazon where, you could buy a Ledger Nano S, or for a Ledger Nano S, for a Ledger Nano S, link with Ledger. Shit that I actually know is, it's number one, it's a one-time fee. Number two, it's actually going to provide you value and be safe for you, and things like that. Like, if and when Bitconnect goes down, which is definitely very possible, it might not. It might never go down. Maybe there's just an endless supply of silly people on the planet that think they can make 40% a month, because there are geniuses that have Harvard MBAs on Wall Street right now at Goldman Sachs that can barely get, 14% a year, 10% a year. So somebody out there, some Joe Schmo can make 40% a month, because they're smarter than everybody else. Now they're not. It's if and when it goes down, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people, and a lot of these, YouTubers that, go about this stuff are going to just get crushed. So good luck to you. So I'm taking a look at some of these questions. Appreciate you guys throwing out those likes and everything like that. That's pretty damn awesome. And guys, I mean, as far as everything goes, so the one thing I'll say too is the market in cryptocurrency is very immature. I mean, we're still very young. You guys in this chat are, and the people that are listening right now you guys are and girls. 95% of you guys are guys, because crypto is a sausage fest. But you guys and girls that and ladies and women that are watching this right now are very, I still think very early on in the party overall of cryptocurrency, of decentralized technology, of all this good stuff. But as you continue to study this, as you continue to study these things, as you continue to go on, you are going to have the opportunity to make money on things that are questionable in nature. For the most part, I choose to avoid those things that I think would give me pause sleeping at night and would just not make me overall feel good about myself. Now, can you make money in a lot of these cryptocurrencies? Can you make money in a lot of things that aren't necessarily, great? The quote unquote scam coins and other things like that. Yeah, you can. But I don't want to, I mean, from my perspective, I'm about longevity, and I think you guys should be about longevity. And I talked about that previously, where it's like, Terry, what's up? IT degree here as well. It's good to have you. Good to have you. Evelyn as well. Got to drown out these dudes. But I mean, I think the one thing is you want to be about longevity in the long term here. I think crypto is going to continue to rise up. I think, Bitcoin, Ethereum, a lot of these cryptocurrencies are going to continue to move upwards. Maybe did they have some bear markets? Maybe did they have some downtrends? Yeah, for sure. But you want to, in a lot of respects, I think, you want to think about your longevity in this game and don't think necessarily short term. Can you make money day trading? Can you do all that stuff? Yeah, it's fantastic. But don't invest in things that you think are going to be, that are simply solely for quick money that you would not want to tell your future grandkids about. So we'll see there. Somebody mentioned, do I still believe in averaging over time? Yes, I do. I think, the one thing that cryptocurrency and crypto, if we're looking at historical averages, drink. Yeah, it ain't all about Lambos, but it's all about Lambos. But so somebody mentioned, do I still believe in dollar cost averaging over time or averaging over time? And I do. Yes, I do. And I quite frankly, I think that so it's easy to think in a lot of cases in cryptocurrency, like, all right, let's just say, for example, you have $5,000 and you want to turn, you look at these historical returns on cryptocurrency. And if you had $5,000 in Bitcoin, 10 years, not 10 years ago, it was founded like 8 years ago. If you had $5,000 in Bitcoin like 6 years ago, you're a millionaire right now, basically. Multi-millionaire. So you're chasing those type of returns, but you're thinking like, okay, well, that's all the money I need in crypto. I kind of think that the way I treat it is, I have my 401k. I put 12% of my salary in my 401k. I put more money in Betterment.com, which is just a diversified stock indexed fund as well. And then I put the rest of that in cryptocurrency because I just continue to average my way in. The more money that, the more money I'm able to put in cryptocurrency, I think that the more opportunity that I have there for a return. So I would, in a lot of cases, I would consider, I would do that. I would go through that kind of process there as well. So I have no, Jesus. So if anybody can talk to me about what Walton Coin is, to be honest, I think I saw this. Did it get added to Bittrex? Yeah, it got added to Bittrex today. $43 million of volume. Does anybody have any? I wish I was sponsored by Milky Way. Milky Way, if you're watching this right now, what's up? Hit me up and we'll definitely talk about a good sponsorship there. But does anybody have any thoughts on? Because there's only so many coins I have time for. Does anybody have thoughts on Walton Coin and why it's spiking like a absolute psychopath today and why it's up 115%? Would definitely love to hear in the comments. I have no idea if this is certainly looks like. I mean, actually, I don't want to say anything until I know. So, but sound off in the comments if you know why Walton Coin is. This sounds like a German beer. This sounds like Grolsch, and it sounds like I should be drinking this right now. Dale, your wife shouldn't be shopping with Bitcoin. You should just leave that stuff. You should leave your Bitcoin in your wallet and then just retire on that shit in 10 years and just be rich. And then you can have her shop all she wants with it. But as of now, I am not spending my Bitcoin by any stretch. Segwit coin, Concoin, ASIC resistant. It does sound like a German beer. Yes, it is. It's the newest Bitconnect. About Walton Coin. So I could probably, it was launched in so that's one thing that's kind of interesting too is Lightning Network, Segwit and Lightning Network ready, which is fairly interesting actually. Major development release, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's interesting that some of these cryptocurrencies, okay, ASIC resistant, multi-pool resistant, highly profitable for all miners. Mine on an old laptop and still turn a profit. The People's Coin. If somebody else, Grolsch isn't bad. It's a little Heineken-y for my taste, and I'm not a big Heineken fan. I think it's way too damn plain. It's like the Sprite of beer. It's like, whatever. All in on Dogecoin, yeah, for sure. But yeah, going into this, I mean, this does sound a little bit like Bitcoin Gold. This does sound a little bit like Vertcoin, where it's ASIC resistant. The People's Coin, making crypto great again, making decentralized great again. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I haven't done too much research on it. But Bitcoin is obvious. I mean, Bittrex is obviously a big exchange. Bittrex doesn't add that many cryptocurrencies. Pretty crazy that it's I don't know if it was recently added to Bittrex or not, but that is, I mean, that's one hell of a chart. Actually, Gravy Train, I do like Guinness. Guinness is a great beer. When I'm like feeling like just Guinness is a great hungover beer for me. Hungover beer. Very smooth, very easy to go down without the carbonation. I can dig Guinness all day long. Hungover. That and a Bloody Mary. And avocado toast because I'm a millennial. It's great. Great stuff. Chimay is good beer, but I also don't feel like spending $15 for a bottle of beer, so I haven't drinking Chimay in a while. If I'm going to spend $15 for a drink, it's going to be on freaking it's going to be on an old fashioned for sure. LTC is best. I don't know about that, but you know, Litecoin is an interesting cryptocurrency, but I don't know if Litecoin is. I would rather have. For me, I would rather have all my money in Bitcoin, and this is just my personal preference, but I would rather have my money in like 50% Bitcoin, 50% Ethereum, rather than 33% Bitcoin, 33% Ethereum, 33% Litecoin. I just think that it's something that I would rather have my exposure to is Bitcoin rather than Litecoin. But that's all personal preference for me. I know there's a lot of Litecoin fans out there as well. And a lot of people like the fact that Charlie Lee is like heavily involved in this, like the Satoshi Nakamoto, the Satoshi Light of crypto. So somebody said, if I put my daughter's $300 savings into Bitcoin, how much do you think she'd have at graduation? Well, I mean, I don't think it'd be that much, to be honest with you. Like, let's say, so right now, Bitcoin is $6,000. What do we have? $6,417. Let's say we go absolutely nuts, like absolutely outrageously nuts. Bitcoin goes, if you have $300, Bitcoin goes absolutely outrageous, goes up 20x. Like institutional money pours in, shit goes absolutely crazy. And Bitcoin goes up to 100 grand, 6,417. You would be making 15x times 300. Your daughter's college fund, where did that question go? Or savings would be worth $4,675. So even if Bitcoin went up to $100,000, which is extremely, extremely aggressive. And if Bitcoin goes up to $100,000, I'm paying off my house. I'm living the life. I am chilling on YouTube. And I'm slinging Bitconnect loans for a living. I'm not at all. I'm just kidding. It's a total joke. But even if Bitcoin goes up to $100,000, your $3,000 or $300 is going to be worth $4,600, about $5,000. So, yeah. I mean, it depends on what you want to do with that $300. Is your daughter is she a month old? And are you looking for a 20-year time horizon? Or are you looking for something that is short term? If it's short term and you don't mind losing $300, bet on an altcoin. If you are looking for a long term time horizon, maybe Bitcoin's the move for you as well. Jerkin, if Bitcoin finally hits $100,000, I will finally buy my first coin. Yeah, you just like hanging out in crypto happy hours. That seems like your deal, man. No coin, just crypto happy hours. And my man Marco kind of put it correctly there. Buy Bitcoin, cold store that Bitcoin, and repeat. And then you're Gucci. So, Dale, your mom's basement is nice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with your mom's basement. Rent is probably free. Maybe she's charging you cheap rent, but either way, it's probably cheaper than my mortgage. I can guarantee you that. It's definitely cheaper than my town taxes because my town rips me off on taxes. So we'll see there. So Ha mentioned, can I research Neblio and maybe do a video? Yes, I can absolutely research Neblio in a little bit more detail and do a video for you as well. Happy to go through that process. I'm in a group of guys, a meetup group, Slack group in Manhattan, and Neblio is something that they've talked about for a while. So happy. Oh shit, I'm getting tired. Happy to do a little bit more research on that. Poma mentioned Chainlink hit bottom. Yeah, Chainlink got absolutely crushed. I was pretty big on Chainlink. I made like 40% on Chainlink, and then I like lost 40% on Chainlink because I didn't sell. So I've lost, let's say, a decent amount of money on Chainlink, or my money is down on Chainlink right now. But as of the time, for the time being, it's interesting in a lot of respects as far as how Chainlink goes. But I think the time being, accumulating altcoins might not be the worst idea on the planet. I would slowly maybe start accumulating altcoins, and that's, I think, something I am going to do, is to slowly start accumulating altcoins, because I think that after the X2X Fork, you're going to see some money there. Yeah, somebody mentioned Neblio doubling. I forget who. There was somebody in our Slack group that I'm. It's like a pretty private group of a couple nerdy bros, but somebody was not pumping. He was like talking about Neblio pretty early on, and was a big fan of it, and that ended up being something that really just shot through the roof, which is pretty crazy. So Vito, love the name Vito. You sound like you're pretty close to me, fellow Italian, fellow Itai. But I need to get stupid drunk for sure on one of these live videos. Yeah, Bitcoin hits. There was one time I almost did a YouTube live. I went from happy hour, and I don't know what the hell I drank, but I drank something, and I was like super close to going on YouTube live and then passed out. So it's probably a good thing I didn't go on YouTube live. But yeah, it's if depending upon how high our friends at Bitconnect go, we can have a good time on YouTube live for sure. I mean, if I finish that bottle of Bullet Rye, you'll see me pretty tipsy. Noah mentioned any thoughts on XRP. US firing again. Sergio, appreciate that super chat, my man. Any thoughts on the new HTML coin? So I've seen that in a couple different comments. I have no HTML5 coin. Super small market cap of $5 million. It's been around since January of 2015. It is now pumping a little bit out of nowhere. To be honest, Sergio, I need to do a little bit more research on this. This is such a small market cap that I'm not too familiar with HTML coin and what it's about, why it's why it's super legit. So or why it is legit, or why it would be a good fit for anything. So I would need to do a little bit more research on crypto. So Argard, this is an interesting thing. Meetup search. Let's see. So if you go to meetup.com, click find, and here we go. So go to meetup.com, click find, put in, like, let's say So we'll do 5 miles of New York, and we'll say for me, sometimes you can kind of search around, but search like blockchain, and you see the calendar. So tomorrow there is, let's see, I think this is tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow there's an enterprise blockchain meetup. There's a meetup with Oracle's blockchain platform. There is a meetup. There's meetups on Thursday. I mean, this is New York, so it's also a little bit interesting. I actually met the guy who started Crypto 2020 at the last meetup I went to, and he was pretty cool. Seemed like a good dude, and apparently it's a pretty laid-back Sweetwater social, so a pretty laid-back environment there. And I actually might go to this meetup on Thursday, so we'll end up seeing what happens with that. But yeah, we'll go from there. Ripple is dead. No $1 for you. We'll have to see how that ends up panning out. But yeah, check out Ripple for sure. You guys, if you are new to the channel by any chance, hit the subscribe button and then the little notify button next to it. So that way, next time I do go live, I'll probably do another YouTube, depending upon if I go to any of these happy hours. Depending upon if I go to any of these happy hours in the near future, I'll probably do another crypto happy hour tomorrow or Thursday night. So we'll end up see how that goes. But yeah, hit that subscribe button and the notify button if you are new to the channel by any chance. And I appreciate you guys. I mean, there's been 400 people here for pretty much the whole time, which has been freaking awesome. So that'd be awesome, and I would certainly appreciate that. So you get all the new content that comes out on a consistent basis. And outside of that, guys, I am going to, so as I said before, Robbie's got a day job, and I got some stuff to attend to tomorrow, and definitely a couple different meetings. So I am going to finish my glass of whiskey and hit the hay in the near future because it's 10:15, and I'm an old man, and I'm going to go to bed at 10:15 or 10:30. I appreciate all your time, everybody. Thank you so much for your questions, and thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you are new to the channel, like I said, hit that subscribe button. And then from there, appreciate the time. Crypto Bobby, signing out. Peace.